Welcome. So excited that you are with us, Dr. Calvin Tibbs, the relationship doctor. And I got something that I want you to read because you're here in case you are a couple, or you're a married couple, or you're a dating couple, or you are just about to go to the altar. And if you are spiritually challenged, I'm talking about relationships that move from married, unmarried to your walk with your creator. If you're in that kind of a relationship and you want some help getting to your next level, today we're talking about something that's going to benefit you tremendously, and that is championship couples. So, on the couple side of the house, whether you are married 15 years, 20 years, or 3 days, or you're engaged, or you're kind of a couple, you're not quite, but you're headed there, you need to be here. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get some insight in the next 28 minutes that is going to flat out revolutionize what's happening. So let's dive right in. What is a champion? We're talking about championship couples. What's a champion? Somebody who wins. Win, baby. That's what Al Davis said. Oakland Raiders back in the day. Now they are the Las Vegas or Nevada Raiders. But he said, baby, just win. Okay. See, when you win, all the little stuff don't matter. It's when you're losing that everything matters. But check this out. A champion is a person who has defeated or surpassed all rivals. Somebody say all rivals. That's what we got to do. In your relationship, you have rivals. We're going to talk about what they are. You got to overcome them, all of them, in order for you to win a championship. So check this out. If that happens in sports, which is principally where this is set up, what about championship couples? What do? You defeat all rivals. You're not defeating people as much as you are defeating things that try to stop you from progressing. Sometimes it's people, but generally speaking, it is not. So check it out. I want to lock right in to what this looks like for you today. We are on part 4 of our championship couples series, and it's dealing with whatever that enemy is. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 of them, but one principally. I want to talk about the environment. Your biggest enemy is the environment, and there are 2 environments that all championship couples have to face. The first one is inside of you, and this is where the I's have it. There is no I in team, and a lot of people don't know that, so they show up with a single mindset in a relationship that requires 2 people. Well, the reason why I shows up is because they don't know how to spell. They don't know how to spell team. They think it's my team or team me or team I. No, no. TEAM, it has no I's. There is no I in team. And since there isn't an I in team, why do people act like there is? Answer, because they have trouble right here with this. They don't love. They don't love their most meaningful relationship. If they did, they would do something about that. That's why we're here to assist you with that. Now, check this out. When it comes down to there is no I in team, there is an environment that does have an I. And the environment that is inside of you actually dictates the environment outside of you. There's an inside environment, there is an outside environment. We all have it. And based upon how well you exist, that determines what you contribute. If you exist low, then the outside atmosphere will contribute to the I, the atmosphere in you. This is where people sometimes get affected by the weather. It doesn't matter what it is. It's hot outside, it messes with them. It's cold outside, it messes with them. It's windy, oh, it messes with them because the outside environment is bigger, greater, stronger than the inside environment. If you're going to win as a championship couple, we got to do some work on the inside environment. That's the enemy. That's the rival. Not you, what's in you. Not your spouse, what's possibly in your spouse. Now, I'm going to give you a provocative thought statement, and I want you to work with me on this because the whole goal in any championship endeavor is to win against the rival, which means you've got to identify the rival. Baseball teams don't play football teams. College teams don't normally, sometimes they scrimmage with, but they don't play professional teams. Unfortunately, sometimes people on the same team fight each other. Again, championship couples identify the enemy. And here you go. The enemy is not the spouse. Okay. The enemy is not the partner, girlfriend, or boyfriend. It's not. Now, they could say something wrong, do something wrong. They could be wrong. But here's my question to you. The reason why I'm telling you that the enemy is not them, how'd they get there? How'd your wife get there? Okay, sister, how'd your husband? How'd he get there? If you're dating, how did your partner get there? Now, don't tell me on Marta or they drove their BMW. I'm gonna tell you how they got there. You. What? Yeah, they're there because of you. They got there because of you. Uh-oh. So you know what the deal is? You attracted them. And now you're blaming them? How's that work? They got there because of you. You invited them, something about you, something that you said. So now that we're blaming them when they're there because of your invitation, perhaps we need to stop casting blame and start getting a weather forecast. Let's check on the environment that attracted them. And that environment is inside of you. So now let's deal with the enemy, not you, not them, the enemy in the environment, because it was the environment inside of you that looked at and became attracted to the person that you're now spurning. If you are, you may be just cool with it, but I am telling you, the enemy is not your spouse. The enemy is not your partner. The enemy is in you. And let's go to work on that. All right, y'all good? All right, check this out. When you talk about the reality that there is no I in team, what this means is if we can get out of this, what I need, what I want, what I expected, if you can just get out of that, you got a chance. Because if we're going to defeat these issues, we got to identify the enemy. Okay, so we got to know the enemy. So let's talk about what I'm going to describe as thermostats in nature. Thermostats, and nature. You know what a thermostat is? I wish I had one here in my hand. Thermostats can be changed, right? You change it hot. If you want it up, you want it cold, you take it down. Of course, that's on one setting. You want to change that, you flip it from heat to cold or cool, and you reverse that. But either way, thermostats set conditions in the house. Thermostats set conditions in the house. So let's just deal with you for a minute. You set the thermostat. The other person does not have the thermostat code. Well, they make me feel, oh, wait a minute, what? They make me feel, she makes me, he makes me feel. Michael Jackson has a song, The Way You Make Me Feel. Ba-da, ba-da. Well, the fact is, being made to feel a certain way takes away your power to control the thermostat. I will say that again. Being made to feel a certain way means that the control in your thermostat has been given to someone else. Now, I get it. We give the keys to our heart to the other person. If you're married in particular, you're beginning to check it out. If you're not quite married or you're a partner, you're seeing if you're going to give up the keys to your heart. But the keys to the heart and your thermostat, how it comes up or gets down. And I've heard this many times, they made me feel like I was not, or they made me feel like I was, whatever it is. Why are they holding on to the keys of your thermostat? That thing should be locked by you, and the keys should be inside of your possession. See, thermostats regulate what you're going to feel like or how you will exist. That's just the thermostat component of this, because that's an atmosphere that's inside of you. And I just want to encourage you to know you hold those keys. The other person doesn't hold those keys. If you give them the keys, then they will turn you up or turn you down based upon their good pleasure, or based upon their love for you, or based upon them wanting to mess with you. It just depends. But if they have the key, we got a problem, Houston. And I don't mean that husbands and wives don't share that. When you go into that level of a covenant, y'all share keys, and there is no locked key, my account, your account. Some people work that way, but that's because their existence has not yet identified that the enemy is not the person you trusted your life with. If they can't be trusted with money, can they be trusted with your life? See, we're talking about existence. We've got to find out that the enemy is the wrong environment. We got to check out what is the wrong environment in me. Start with me. Okay. You're not talking to your spouse, not talking to your partner. You're talking to you. What's the wrong environment? Well, I keep hearing you say, but she makes me feel, or he makes me feel. Let's get your keys, open the thermostat, and set it. Set it and forget it. Unless it's broken, it will automatically bring the temperature, the conditioning of your house, your apartment, your car. It's going to bring it to the place you set it. This is just how it goes. You good? Okay. Now, let's talk about nature. Nature's thermostat is not set by us. Some people think it's the environment of global warming that sets it. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's people who set how hot it gets in terms of the atmosphere based upon relationships with righteousness and unrighteousness. That is a matter of a whole different topic. But we really don't go out and make the weather do anything. We respond in nature to the environment in nature. If it's windy, if it's cold, if it's hot, if it's humid, you have to respond to what is in that environment. You have no keys to nature because the environment or the existence in nature is beyond your control. So that tells you two things. There is one environment that you are in control of, and there is another environment that you are not in control of. Championship couples understand this. There are certain things that you all, as a couple, can control. There are some things that you, as a couple, cannot control. In other words, the way people view the two of you is not your problem. It's really not an issue to you unless you take your keys, unlock the heart sensors, and allow their actions to control the temperature inside of you. Outside of that, what is happening in nature is something you have to learn to respond to. You cannot control nature. You can only control how you respond to nature. Championship couples get this. I hope you understand this now. And especially with interracial couples, that is normally an appetite or a recipe. What I'm looking for is the recipe for what's in you to come out. If you are frustrated with people liking you, then when they don't like you because they don't like the other person, you're going to have challenges because you're letting them have the keys to your thermostat. Championship couples keep the keys and share the keys freely with their spouse. You share it with some guard if you're in a relationship that is not quite married yet. Why? Because the covenant papers have not given full access yet. You might be on the way to that in the event that you are an engaged couple. Until that's done, though, you still hold the keys to your own thermostat. When you share the keys, that's when people start making you feel, because you gave them the authority to make the conditions change. I hope this is helping you. All right. Is it helping? All right. That's just the first, my goodness, halfway done. And I'm not even moving through this yet. So the question of your environment by way of thermostats and nature, things you can control, thermostat, things you cannot control, nature, wind speed, wind conditions. You have nothing to do with that in nature. You can guard yourself. You can get an umbrella. You can put on more clothes. You can take perhaps some clothes off if it's hot. But in the end, the actual conditioning from that outside environment, you have nothing to do with it. You have to respond to it. So inside of your relationship, championship couples understand what they can control because they understand the conditions of what is opposing them. And this is the reason why I said again, your spouse is not your problem, because your spouse is there because you attracted your spouse. You got that? All right, let's move it. Let's keep it moving. So, how do you exist? Where's your thermostat normally set inside of you? Is it variable, where it keeps changing based upon outside conditions? Or is it reasonably set at the temperament of your existence? Is your existence waiting on other people to tell you how to exist? Championship couples don't work like that. Championship couples are both adults who bring adult insights to the room. Championship couples don't keep looking at the clock, hoping it runs out before you go off up in here. Championship couples understand that patience is necessary in order for work to be done. Patience must have her perfect works. And a lot of folks don't want that work to actually be done because they want it now. And patience is not in a hurry. There are some things that will only occur when patience is completed. And patience cannot be completed until she's done. Patience must have her perfect works. How do you know that patience has worked? You don't lack anything. You don't lack anything. See, championship couples understand that patience is necessary. I understand this can be like watching paint dry. It's better to watch it dry and know that it's dry than to bump up on a wall and mess with your clothes. It's reality time when it comes to champions. Champions can wait. I know that in basketball, I don't know if you watch it or not, but those who do are familiar with the term. Michael Jordan, for example, I use him often, greatest basketball player to ever live. Some argue he's the greatest athlete that ever lives. I'm not even trying to figure out those things. I'm just telling you, in basketball, before Mike began to win championships, he had to buff up. He had to get other people involved. And here's the third thing. He had to let the game come to him. Okay. What that means is patience through the first couple of three quarters were necessary when the other guys perhaps weren't scoring well and the team wasn't showing up yet because Mike was letting the game come to him. You have to do that in your relationship. You got to let the game come to you. You got to let the relationship come to you. Now, I'm talking about coming to you because your thermostat is set at the right temperature so that the conditions for togetherness and defeating rivals is set at a high level. See, some people set their expectations low and they're all right down there. At least the bills are paid, or at least I got a roof. Listen, you could have had a roof by yourself. You want to be under a roof where there is championship conversation, championship actions, championship conversations, mindsets, decisions being made. And when couples do that, it's because the atmosphere in them, in the relationship, has been set. And if it's not quite there, it'll come to you. Because if you set the right conditions, you're going to get the right response. Let it come to you. You with me? Just let it come to you. All right, so we're way more than halfway in. So the question of your existence can only be answered by you. You got to answer. You have to answer. How do you exist? And if you have to set your thermostat higher so that the conditions change, set it higher. If you have to set it lower, then set it lower. If you don't want to expend a lot of energy, but you still want it to be done, set it where it needs to be set and forget it. All right, let's move on to the next thing. How does your spouse exist? How does your partner exist? Are there certain things that no matter what the temperature is set at, it just flat out blows it off? I mean, it blows it up, like they just went into your heart and just took you up to 100 or took you down to total coldness. See, knowing how your spouse or your partner exists, it's their responsibility, but it's also yours. In other words, if you're aware, if you're paying attention to them, you already know what conditions, when they get set, it throws things off. You already know what that is. Okay, but you are the realist. We just got to talk about it. Well, maybe what you need to learn to do is let it come to you and learn to talk when the conditions of getting the results that you're after are more favorable. Like I know that ladies sometimes need to wait until the husband has eaten. Well, I want to tell you what's on my mind right now. Well, the conditions aren't set because you don't know how he exists. And so it is with the man. Perhaps you don't realize at certain times of the month or certain times in life where things occurred that she's a lot more edgy. Let it come to you. Set it and forget it where the conditions are conducive because you know how your spouse or your partner exists. You got to know that. You won't know that if you don't pay attention. Okay, great. How do you exist? How does your spouse exist? Let's go to the next one. How much does nature play a part in your existence? Since we've covered that, I'm going to do this very quickly. Outside conditions should not be greater than the inside conditions or temperature in your relationship. It just should not be. What other people think. Now, I'm talking about husbands and wives to begin with here, because that's a covenant relationship. In that covenant relationship, because somebody don't like you shouldn't matter. I mean, it might matter if they're of great value, but if their reasons for it not working don't matter, then why does it matter so much to you? Because this relationship doesn't. So that one is putting pressure on this one. That's why I ask, how do you exist? How does your spouse exist? Now, if everybody's jumping up and down and you're not married yet, and they're saying he's a thief, I saw him on, thieves.com. He's a womanizer. I saw him on womanizer.com. He has 4 girlfriends and you just won't go to the .com to see. Man, there's something wrong with that because you're existing at a low level. Again, championship couples are made up of championship people. So the way you win is you check the information out. And don't feel desperate that you need to stick around because at least he only has 2 girlfriends and the last guy you dated had 5. Are you kidding me? We need to reset that temperature because if the existence is off, then we don't recognize that the enemy in us is us. That's a coaching process for a different time. I'm just dealing with championship couples recognizing wrong environments. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. Let's keep it moving. Championship couples connect their existence with their performance. Championship couples connect their existence with their performance. If you are in corporate, you have likely heard of key existing indicators or key performance indicators, KPIs, key performance indicators, and they're based upon a metrics or a matrix of the threats. It's called a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths of the company or the couple? What are the weaknesses? What are the threats? What are the opportunities? So SWOT. So when you, as a company, are planning for growth, you look at your strengths, you look at your weaknesses, you look at your threats, you look at your opportunities. You can absolutely do the same thing in a company. So what I'm referencing here is that championship couples, they connect their existence. Now, existence is different from performance because these are KPIs, key performance indicators. But what are the KEIs? Most don't train on this, but we do. That's why if you need help, we'll tell you at the end how to get it with our coaching program. But key existing indicators are very important to key performance. If your existence is off, your performance will be off. It's not just a bad hair day, it's a bad existence day. The thermostat is being affected by nature. Why is that happening? Why is that person's existence so dependent upon outside forces? We got to get that fixed. Championship couples don't let the outside come inside and affect the entire conditioning of the relationship. And there are ways that you get around that. And we'll talk about that again in our coaching program or in the mastermind that you hear about later. But I want to make you aware specifically that the enemy is not knowing the kind of environment that's being set. The environment has got to be set that's conducive to how you want to exist. How do you exist? How does your spouse exist? Does the outside affect the inside more? And if so, we got to work that out. Here's the next couple of ones before we get to the end. Do you ever favor the wrong existence? In other words, do you keep stuff up that could be squelched? Do you elongate it because it's your turn to win? Against your spouse, against your own family, against the person you say you want to marry if you're single. Do you favor the wrong existence? Do you favor drama? Ain't nothing wrong with no drama. No, it sure isn't. If you're an actor. But if you're trying to get a relationship work to work, it's not an act. It's sacrifice. It's a life that you want to live well together. If you just want to have trouble, go find, you can find that anywhere. But why have a relationship that's loaded with trouble? Because that person has a favor, a leaning, a tendency towards the wrong existence. Championship couples don't do that because you got to work together to win. Well, we like pressure. Yeah, but if the pressure is always coming from a problem, then that would presuppose that you got to have a problem in order for you to perform. That's a problem. That's a problem. You should be able to perform because it's the right thing to do. But if your existence requires wrong in order for you to do right, this is where women chase men. I was just looking through your phone. Here you go. Why do you have to always have someone chasing you before you do right? That's an existence problem. That tells me that the wrong environment has not been set, changed, challenged. I hope that makes sense. It's not about chasing one another down. It's about doing what's right because you are a part of a championship couple. And championship couples do this way. Let's finalize this with championship couples understand this dynamic. And we could have done 30 minutes on just this, but I'm just going to put this out here. As a championship couple, you understand how you exist because if you don't, you won't respect it. And there's a statement out there that says, respect my existence. You got to know the existence of the other person. You got to know your existence. Respect my existence or expect my resistance. Respect how I exist or expect what I'll do to resist. Now, there's a lot there, but I'm just going to end it with this because I want to let you know about some resources. Championship couples understand existence and performance. Championship couples respect the existence of the other person, and that's why they don't get a lot of resistance from the other person. Your resistance in your championship couple relationship should mostly come from the outside. And it shouldn't be allowed to get in because the inside temperature, the thermostat, has been set by the two of you. So here's a takeaway for you. I want you to answer 3 questions. We call them the big 3 P's, the big 3 purpose questions. You got to answer this question. Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And how can I improve? I'm going to leave that real basic because it goes way deep into multiple territories. It covers the SWOT analysis. And that's, again, where you need a certified purpose development coach, somebody like me to help you through that, or somebody who does that work. I'm just encouraging you to know it's work to win. It's also work to lose. So if you're going to have to work, you may as well work to win. And I think you can, because you wouldn't have listened this long and purchased this course if you were a losing couple. You're a championship couple. Check this out. A champion is a person who, once again, has defeated and surpassed all rivals. That's you. A championship couple does the same thing. That's what you're working on. That's what you're doing. And you're invited to continue that journey by joining us at The Relationship Doctor inside of Facebook. It's a Facebook group where a bunch of championship couples hang out absolutely free of charge. Also, you can pick up a resource that we've made. This one is not free. It's very nominal, but you can go to that website address and click on and get a purpose download. You got some extra bonuses in there too. It's going to help you flat out in your relationship. We have some additional free resources. This resource is on at Calendly. You can go to calvintibbs.com to get to it, or you can go directly into Calendly and write JC Tibbs, the number 2, set up a time, free strategy session. I'll help you win even more. And then based upon that, perhaps we'll do some coaching together. There's another free download, free, a lot of free things in terms of resources for you. Again, at calvintibbs.com, you can download Coach Your Way Out of Troubled Relationships and something called Purpose Deficit Disorder. It's a very powerful concept when you look at it. And then finally, if you're in that dating game or you're early in the game of dating and you want to have some substantive conversation with yourself and with your partner, check out at calvintibbs.com the Man Made for Marriage survey. It's a paid survey. It's better than flowers. It's better than dinner because you are the one on the menu. And when you know what's inside of you, you know what you're made of a little bit more. And then the two of you can discuss to see, are we really trekking? Are we going in the right direction? Because this survey literally pulls up the best in you and the rest in you. You know that there's no I in team, right? You already know that. There's no I in team. And what we've done today is help you become a championship couple at a level beyond where you are right now. I believe you can do it. I believe you can get it done. If you need some help, go to calvintibbs.com. Let's set up a time where we can coach you out of the trouble and into the championship circle where you belong. We'll see you next time.